What's going on, guys? Big Mike, the 717 Outlaw, back here today. So we are back to wrenching on the Busas a little bit. Sorry, things have been a little bit behind. We've been working on some stuff for the nonprofit and just doing a lot of events. We've been visiting a couple events. We hosted a couple events this month, and now we're getting back into racing. We had 2 races in the month of July. Now that we're hitting August, we have like 6. There's a couple double headers, and most of it too is I'm just trying to qualify for SBRA. I'm not 100% sure yet if I'm going to actually make it for the entire final. Maybe the last day. I'm not 100% sure yet. But WDRA, we are sitting, I believe we're now in the top. We are in the top 10 up at Beaver. So we're gonna see what happens. But yeah, just a quick overview of some things that have been going on here at the shop. So the pink bike, we were gonna be getting ready to actually run that for the last half of the season. I ran into some problems with, there is some kind of electric or power draw in the bike somewhere, so I unfortunately killed my now 3rd battery in that bike. So I'm gonna put a master cutoff switch on it, get a new battery, get the pink bike up and running, at least as it sits. The turbo bike did have a little bit of mishap. We went to the 10th annual Rumble, the night show. We went out there for the nonprofit. We set up to support the show, support the cause that the show was for. And Turbo Bike actually won Best Street Bike, which was pretty cool. We did enter in the exhaust competition, and this is where problems came. So we went into round 2 of the exhaust competition, and because of how they had you do it, it was a little bit of round robin kind of deal. So I put air in the system, hit the ride back, rode around the parking lot, and basically got back in line to go against the next person. So in that process, we went up for round 2. I didn't let out the air like I probably should have. Forgot about the auto shift, went up for the revved it once, revved it twice, revved it a 3rd time, just managed to hit the auto shift RPM. Well, the bike went from neutral to 2nd, and I hurt one of the bushings in the rear wheel. So I kind of got a little bit lucky, and we actually have a OEM wheel. Now the OEM wheel does not have the correct sprocket because they are not interchangeable, which I wish they were. But we have a 44 tooth versus a 45. So we might get a little bit more top end with this, but we're gonna go ahead and run this rear wheel and hopefully see what she can do. This weekend we have the Streetcar Shakedown, which we actually ran the turbo bike in it last year, and we managed to pull off a win in the Extreme Cycle class. So we're gonna try to do the same thing this weekend. We have SBRA race right after that, and then we have next weekend is Pack the Track up at Beaver Springs, which is a very big race. All the racers have the chance to buy books of tickets. They're for $10. They give us 10 tickets, and it's for free admission of somebody of our choosing or whoever we hand the tickets out to. So we have some tickets to hand out. I'm hoping to get a couple of my friends to come up. We have the sponsors for the bike are trying to come up as well. But yeah, we're gonna try and get the turbo bike finished up because since Pinky is having the battery draw problems, we are not gonna be running her for the remainder of the season. There's a couple things I wanna look into for that bike yet, and I think I have it just about figured out. I've been trying to get some pointers and get some tips and tricks from a lot of the guys because the original parts list that I had was almost up to what I paid for the bike as a whole. I don't have that kind of wallet, so we're just gonna see what happens. So let's get the turbo bike finished up and get ready for a weekend of racing up at Beaver Springs. Well, we went ahead, got everything figured out here. So again, 44 tooth sprocket. Got the chain all tight. I might actually have to double check. She might be a little bit too tight. But got everything pretty much ready to go. Just have to put the tail back on. We did swap over our compressors. So we have the Johnson Motorsports micro compressor back on the bike. We went ahead, put the MPS on Pinky. So Pinky officially has a compressor. I just need to wire up the momentary switch. So it's like just quick little tap, fill up the compressor. We have the gauge on the bottom there, and then we have a T going into that, so it goes to our shifter as well as coming from the compressor. So she's about ready to go. Just needs to get the battery and the cutoff. But the turbo bike should be pretty good, ready to roll for this weekend. Just got to do a slight tweak on this and get this chain just right. All right, guys. Well, today was the day of the shootout. Unfortunately, Mother Nature is not going to be cooperating with us. They canceled the event for today, but tomorrow is still in the works. So Sunday is SBRA racing. We are going to go up and try to qualify for the final. The turbo bike, she's ready to roll. We did everything. We got the sprocket and everything set up. I did do a quick once-over on it and made sure that everything was good and ready to go. So turbo bike, she's ready to roll. We're going to be taking her up to race. So pink bike, what happened with the pink bike? I did manage to get, since you saw that quick little clip of her running, I put a new battery in it. We went over everything. We got it running. We had the momentary switch set up for the compressor, which actually I can show you guys, which is actually pretty nice. So I put a switch tucked up behind the bodywork, so whenever I reach up under here, I can hit the button. It starts putting air down here in the tank that's built into the arm. So turbo bike, or pink bike, is good as she sits. Functioning well on the true hand clutch, but we do have some clutch options still yet to figure out because prices are not getting any cheaper on stuff. The MTC Gen 2 clutch I wanted to run on this bike originally, they're looking at that with a quick access cover is $2,500 to almost $3,000 depending on who you go through to order the parts. So since we were looking at doing a back half chassis for the pink bike, there's also getting the back half chassis, which will put wheelie bars on the bike, and then just keeping it true hand clutch, and then basically just getting like the mallet magnet that Dustin Lee runs, which is basically just a magnetic clutch lever. So you pull the clutch in, you lock it, and then once you hold a button, it keeps the clutch in, and then when you release the button, it lets the clutch lever out. So I can put that on the bike and then still run it on true hand clutch. It's just, it'll be a lot easier than slipping it. It's just let go of the button and let the clutch lever fly. So looking at that as an option too is to do the back half. Surprisingly, the back half chassis with bodywork and getting the mallet magnet is actually going to be cheaper than doing the Gen 2 clutch. So a little bit of stuff to find out, but I think that might be the route that we go because it's cheaper and it's stuff that we can still work on pretty easily without really breaking the bank. But yeah, for you guys it'll be a couple seconds, but for me tomorrow morning we'll be up at Beaver Springs. Let's go, guys.
Right on the money, 30 on the 30. Like putting on his friend. South Close, Suzuki Hayabusa. Far side, Ted Kaufman, 1986 Kawasaki Ninja. My Karns is the last one. At this time, I will take this race. Third round, I need you in the lanes. In the event of a bye, it goes to Dave Weaver. Foot brace.
All right, guys. Well, we're back home after the race here today, and unfortunately, although in the beginning of the episode, I had thought that everything was good with the trans after we had our issue at the car show. From the sounds of it, we are not. I had issues with it not wanting to shift. I I went ahead and changed the shift timing. It still didn't want to shift. I might have changed it the wrong direction, so that could be on me yet. But there's a few other little things that it's doing that I don't really know how to explain. Like, I kept thinking that one of the spacers was a little out of whack because for some reason the one dust shield keeps pushing itself out. So I don't know if maybe that sleeve that I have in there is just causing that to happen. But the way that it's acting, a couple of the guys up there that run Gen 1s and Gen 2s and have run Busas in the past, we all are leaning towards that I think there's a transmission problem. We're going to tear into it this week, try to see what's going on. If we can't figure it out and it still has a hiccup and we still can't get it figured out, the pink bike's going to come out. We're going to just run her for what she is. And I think if anything, we'll swap the slider clutch into the pink bike, run it. It's probably going to be a pain because there's no two-step, because on this bike, basically all I can think to do is you just smack the throttle and it goes. That's how Jeff ran it for a little bit. So, I mean, if she can go rounds, I'm happy. She doesn't have to be that fast. The pink bike should easily be a mid-9 bike. Possibly, I don't think it'll get into the 8s, maybe a low 9. But we're just going to see. I don't have a whole lot of sprockets to go with it. The other one, too, is the cush drives are definitely shot on the turbo bike in that Gen 1 wheel. So I'm looking at Brock's to get the I think it's polyethylene or polyurethane. I think it's polyethylene. Cush drives, they're a lot firmer. They don't get as much slop as the OEMs can over time. So there's just stuff that's going on that I have literally the next 5 days to figure it out. So it is what it is. It's racing. Things happen. We're going to see what happens. If the turbo bike can't make it, it's not going to take very long to maybe one day just to swap over to the slider onto the pink bike, load the pink bike in the trailer, and she's just going to run. Everything else with that bike is set. She has stuff for the air shifter. I can't tweak the air shifter because of it being tuned through the ECU. I can't change the shift time. It's through the ECU. Whatever. We're just going to run it. And yeah, we just got to tear into the turbo bike and see what's wrong. Something is wrong. And I'm hoping it's not the worst case scenario that we were talking about up the racetrack. I'm hoping that it is the lesser route, but it's still going to cost some time. It's definitely not going to happen this week to get that repair done, and it definitely isn't going to happen with my wallet because I can't afford to do that repair. So we're just going to see what happens. We'll tear into it in the next upload. So as always, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Anything more about the bikes, more about the channel, drop those comments down below. Check the description down below for companies that I use to get all the parts for these bikes. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Hit that subscribe button with the little bell for notifications. And I will see you guys in the next one. Remember, ride safe, ride smart, always wear your helmet. See ya.